Hey Liquid fans, Eric here with Liquid Fan TV, and welcome to the pre-tournament show for the biggest Valorant event of the year, Champions Berlin. With only a couple of days before the tournament actually kicks off, let this video serve as your guide for everything Team Liquid Valorant. So it's certainly been quite a year for the team. We've had roster changes, role changes, we've had heartbreaking defeats, we've had amazing victories, but with the dust finally settled and Liquid making it through the last chance qualifiers, Liquid fans can finally breathe a sigh of relief. We've made it to the final event of the year, the biggest event of the year, and what better way to preview this event than by introducing the squad that brought us there. If you somehow missed it, Cryptix was replaced by Nivera heading into the last chance qualifiers, and it seems like this change really unlocked something in the team. The flexibility that they showed not only in the last chance qualifier, but also at Red Bull Homegrounds, which just recently finished, was extremely refreshing. Sova was played by Nivera, Soulcas, and Jamppi. Astra was played by both Jamppi and Link. Killjoy was played by Jamppi and Nivera. You can really see where I'm going here. We had Jamppi playing 4 unique agents, and the rest of the team wasn't far off, making Liquid a lot more dynamic of a team. If we look back at Masters Reykjavik, we were playing effectively 10 unique agents across all 5 players instead of the 16 unique agents that we're playing heading into Berlin. We even see some changes in weapon setups, having a double op now, and that's not only due to the addition of Nivera, but also Scream picking up the op. And I think the newfound flexibility really suits the team. We're almost infamously known for not having a strict in-game leader. Instead, it's been a role that's shared by Scream, Jamppi, and Soulcas. And I think those 3 players having the option of playing the role, the agent, or even the weapon they want as the shared in-game leader gives Liquid a fluidity that's not really seen with any other roster right now. Diving a little bit deeper into the players individually, and I'd actually like to start with Nivera. While he may be the younger brother to Scream and the newest one on the team, he's really not sitting in any type of shadow. His impact for Liquid in his very first Valorant tournament is almost undeniable. He kicked things off with an ace in his debut round, and he didn't really slow down from there. He played Viper, Killjoy, and Sova very well within the team, and this is only after 3 weeks of practice time with Liquid and about 5 or 6 months playing Valorant itself. He had the highest KDA on the team at 2.02, and it almost feels like Nivera is strangely performing at his peak, but at the same time, I know it's fair to expect that he'll only get better the more he plays Valorant and practices with the team. And then in a similar role to Nivera, we've got Jamppi, his fellow opper in crime and the flexibility king of the team. As I mentioned before, he's played Astra, Jet, Killjoy, Sova, and if we include Red Bull Homegrounds, we can also add Brimstone to that list. So within the past 2 events, Jamppi has managed to play 5 different agents, filling a multitude of different roles, all while maintaining some incredible stats. He's floating the second highest KDA on the team at 1.87. He managed multi-kills in 27% of his rounds played, which is modestly higher than the last chance qualifier average of only 17%, but it's not just raw numbers with Jamppi. I mentioned it in a previous video. He's a great presence outside of the game. I would almost argue that Jamppi is kind of like the captain of the captainless team. The way he seems to bring the squad together, he's always positive, he's leading the opening cheer, and from the outside, it really looks like he's a good motivator for Liquid. Next up, we've got the star power of the team. Of course, it's the legendary player Scream. No question about it, he made an absolute show of the last chance qualifiers. A 1.71 KDA, 32% headshot rating, and 174 average damage per round, which was actually 34% higher than the last chance qualifier average participants. And Scream managed to win 64% of his opening duels, and that's a very significant stat for his place within the team. If we want to dissect that a little more, he had 46 total first kills, and 40 of those resulted in Team Liquid winning the round. That's an 87% conversion rate on his opening kills, and if we look back, for example, at Masters Reykjavik, that was more Jamppi's role, and so it seems now that Scream is back on Reyna and Jet, what looks to be like exclusively, he's taking a more active role within the team. He's finding the openings and creating that advantage for Liquid to convert into a round win. And as I mentioned earlier, we're even seeing Scream pick up the op at times. And when a player like Scream, who's already so dangerous, is adding something new to his tool belt, it just means that it gets a lot more difficult for opposing teams to play around him. Moving on, we've got the Bald King Link. And as someone who plays a more supportive role in his agent choice and general gameplay style, you'd expect him to have some pretty flat stats, but that's really not the case. This guy is like an immovable force when he's anchoring a site. He's got a 33% headshot rating, higher than even Scream, and it always feels like teams are just trying to avoid wherever he plays. whether he's like famously holding a choke with a judge or just playing the back of a site, you can almost expect that he's going to get a multi-kill or buy enough time for Liquid to rotate. And then on attack, he always seems to read his post-plant positioning very well. And if his lurking isn't securing the round off of kills, it's almost certainly doing so through the information he's gathering. And Link really does feel like the often overlooked member in Liquid, but I think this is a guy you're going to want to keep your eye on just as much as a Scream or a Nivera. Finally, closing out the roster, we've got Soulcas. He's an absolutely brilliant player for us. He's almost unmatched at creating openings as Skye or Sova, but he's also a remarkable Raze player, mixing those roots of a duelist with the utility in her kit. Similar to Link, he's playing a less flashy role on the team, but I've really enjoyed watching his play and utility use. At Red Bull Battlegrounds, we even got the chance to see him playing KO to pretty well a great effect. And it really feels like you can ask Soulcas to play any agent and you'll see him utilize its toolkit exceptionally well. And this is an often overlooked aspect for the team for both Link and Soulcas. They're using their utility and their information to prop up the other members of the team to perform more effectively. And I think going into Berlin, I kind of have this idea that this is the finale of the Soulcas story arc. He's in a position to fully prove the critics wrong and redeem himself from First Strike, which was way back also in Berlin. And in my opinion, he's done it already, but I think a strong performance here, or especially a trophy, would certainly put him where I think he's always deserved to be. So with the preview of the players done, what should you, the Team Liquid fan, be expecting not only of our team, but also of the teams there? Obviously, Team Liquid is heading into this tournament with a decent amount of momentum, winning the Last Chance qualifier, but also Red Bull home grounds recently. But that's not it. The teams there are looking very strong right now. We've got a lot of stiff competition. I think Gambit, Sentinels, and Vision Strikers are probably the biggest threats for us there. We're still only considered the number 2 seed in EMEA behind Gambit, the recent Masters winners. We had an exceptionally close series against them that ended in a heartbreaking overtime loss on Icebox, and I think we're itching to get revenge for that loss. Outside of our own region, there's of course a lot of strong NA teams here, but specifically I think Scream's comments in Reykjavik will make Liquid versus any NA team a must-see match. It feels like there's a lot of fuel to the regional rivalry right now with NA and EMEA teams each winning a Masters, but we'll see that rivalry first kind of peak when we play Sentinels in our group stage. Sentinels arguably have one of the most mechanically skilled players in TENS. I think the matchup of TENS versus Scream is going to be really exciting. It's something we missed in Reykjavik, and it seems like the players are excited for this matchup as well. And then finally, we've got Vision Strikers, who kind of have some ground to make up after only placing 5th through 8th at the last event. They actually had a very competitive series against Gambit, and they beat the eventual second place finishers Ascend in the group stage. And I feel like Vision Strikers is really carrying an entire region on their shoulders right now. You know, Korea is known across multiple esports titles to be the absolute best of the best, and I think Vision Strikers don't want to be the exception of that rule. Okay, so to wrap it all up, I think Liquid fans can safely hope for a top 3 finish here. We've honestly shown some incredibly refreshing play recently. Nivera is looking better each time he plays another official with Liquid. Scream seems to be unshackled and in his peak right now. And another thing I actually wanted to mention was some of the great tactical timeout adjustments we've made against Guild on Split or against G2 on Ascent, for example. It feels like we've got the right amount of momentum, individual performance, and then that coaching strength from Sliggy and Bacon that I honestly don't see why we can't win Champions Berlin. So Liquid kicks off their group stage December 2nd with an opening match against Crew Esports, and I really hope you'll be watching and cheering them on.